All right, team or group two, I'm just going to go over your budget. It seems like you're still really confused, and it also appears you did not necessarily read all of the information that I provided to you last week on my feedback on your budget analysis sheet because you still have some things wrong. So what I've done is you'll see if there's a highlight. If there's a highlight in a little red box like that, that means I've made a comment. So click on the box and the comment's going to come up. And for example, you have the wrong quarter in. You are working on quarter two right now because you're planning for your budget. And so if you read the information that was in the HR simulation manual, you will know, and I'm going to just bring this over, that when you're in the simulation, this is yours, you will want to be in quarter one, which will bring up quarter two. So you're planning for what you're going to be doing. So this drop down menu right here has to be quarter one. And that's explained more in that budget planning explanation sheets that are in the simulation resource folder. So make sure you go through that because this number right down here, the projected annual total cost for the quarter, is way off from what you have on your worksheet that you submitted. So once again, I have no idea where you came up with these numbers. Here, make sure you have a formula. So if you're going to be hiring one, it should be that should be a formula in there. So it's like J8 times J8 or whatever. But these all need to be formulas. You can't just plug in numbers on any of these. I want to see that you are practicing using the formulas in Excel. I have no idea where you came up with these numbers. They're way off. So you may want to go back and look at the, so when you go in the simulation, I would go back in and see if I can get this. I would go back in and I would look at staffing. And this is your staffing for this quarter. So you have some resignations, you have 50 new hires, and then you have some 15 promotions. So go back and look at that and see why your numbers aren't coming out right for the training and promotion budget. Okay, so then back to this. Um, this was right, these were right. When I came down to here, I do not see any overtime cost on yours. Um, so I'm not sure where you got that number in. This number right here is incorrect. Like I said, it needs to be that 157. Let me see what it was on your budget analysis. It needs to be the 157,000. So once again, if you go back and look at that budget planning sheet where the numbers come from that is provided out there, walk through that and make sure that you have all of the numbers in correctly from your worksheet. Total expenses is wrong. And then this one, it says quarter. And I mentioned this last week that this needed to be quarter. This number here is annual. So what you need to do, and I explain how to do it in this little box. Basically what you do is you started with a budget for your annual budget was 1,400,000. To get the quarterly amount, you have to divide by 4 because there's 4 quarters in a year, and that amount would be 350,000 each quarter. So your budget for this quarter would be 350,000. It would be 350,000 for the next 2 quarters of this first year as well. It might change in year 2. You'll have to see what the annual budget comes up when you move into year 2. So this number right here is wrong because it would be that 350 minus the 326. And from when I look at it, you'll just want to go back and look at that and make sure that everything's coming out correctly and that your numbers are working out right. You definitely need to go back in and do some changing to the quarter one, and you may want to have me look at quarter one and this one, quarter two, to make sure you're doing it right for next week. I will be out of town starting Monday afternoon, so I will have limited access to the internet, but I will be able to check and I will have all the grading done. But I would highly recommend that your team start working on this and make sure that you get your next budget in after you talk to me or let me look at this before you start for quarter three. Thanks, and let me know if you have questions.